Good morning, my name is Josh from Cyclones Oz, and this is your daily weather forecast update nationwide for Thursday, March 12th, 2026. Lots to get through today. The monsoon trough is beginning to develop across northern Australia, and that means we're going to be talking about lots of showers and storms up here in the next couple of days, particularly for the Northern Territory, but also for Queensland. We've also got some rainfall developing across southeastern Queensland and northeastern New South Wales. Dominant feature over here in Western Australia is an upper level low. That's nothing to be concerned about, actually. And of course, we will circle back to the Coral Sea where something interesting is brewing out in the eastern half of this region. If you're brand new to my channel, please do consider subscribing, but let's get stuck straight into the situation right now and talk about what's actually going to be coming through in southeastern Queensland and northeastern New South Wales. So this isn't severe weather by any stretch of the imagination, but it could involve a couple of severe thunderstorms, and that's why I'm itching to talk about it. So let's start things off. Right now, clear, calm and collected across northeast New South Wales and southeastern Queensland. There is a trough that's extending across parts of New South Wales and Queensland. That's associated with a little bit of this cloud activity out towards western Queensland right now. A couple of showers and thunderstorms can be expected out in this region, so Charleville, Quilpie, Addervale, and then out towards Birdsville and maybe as far south as Thargomindah in the afternoon hours today, pushing over the border into northern New South Wales rather. You can see that here in our precipitation forecast, but for the most part calm and collected this afternoon. We are expecting though a trough developing up the New South Wales northeast coast, coupled with a southeasterly change, lingering moisture and some isolated instability through southeastern Queensland to produce areas of showers and thunderstorms from tomorrow morning into tomorrow afternoon for first New South Wales and then into southeastern Queensland. The prospects rainfall-wise aren't exactly that promising in terms of significant accumulations for Brisbane and less so for the Gold Coast. They need a lot more rainfall than what's actually going to be coming through from this weather system, but it looks like for once the rainfall is actually going to be lingering in places that do need the rainfall as opposed to impacting already flood-ravaged areas. And what I mean by that is basically the really dry spots of southeastern Queensland, so the Border Ranges, the Scenic Rim, the Gold Coast hinterland and the Brisbane region will be picking up that rainfall as opposed to our flood-ravaged Central Coast or even inland areas through the Warrego and the Maranoa, which is very good news indeed. Now, southeasterly changes like this are interesting for thunderstorm development. We see it particularly early in thunderstorm season through October, November and December when that jet stream is positioned over this part of Australia, and that presents us with elevated wind shear for significant severe thunderstorm development. In this case here, the jet stream is actually situated further towards the south, so we don't have that same severe thunderstorm prospect, but we still have that clashing cool moist air with that clashing warm moist air that's already sitting over Queensland right now. It's going to be a hot day through parts of the southeast today. And when we see these two kind of conditions and aspects in the forecast meet, it presents us with the risk of thunderstorm development. So on the leading edge of this southeasterly change, particularly for areas further inland where that change is going to be associated with that trough and also coming through into the afternoon hours, we may see some thunderstorm development, and it could impact areas such as Toowoomba and then Warwick and then out towards Dalby and even down towards Texas or even as far inland as Goondiwindi. Not expecting anything in the way of significant thunderstorm development, but I feel like tomorrow is going to be a day that may catch some people off guard. We do have that isolated prospect of damaging wind gusts and also large hailstones, and I'll show you that on the convective sounding right now. So you can see that blue line and that red line separated at the 500 HPA mark. There is some somewhat there present wind shear through the mid-levels. I mean, it's not overly favourable. Let's not get ahead of ourselves, but 25 knots of bulk shear won't be too bad for thunderstorm organisation. It's definitely not ideal, but it's not the worst thing in the world. Storms will be mostly slow moving by the looks of things in the lower level areas, but you know, it's not the most unfavourable profile for a severe thunderstorm to develop, and it stays like this that can catch people off guard. So maybe expect some sporadic hail tomorrow, maybe expect some sporadic damaging wind gusts. So I'm not saying that tomorrow is going to be a significant day for thunderstorms, but keep an eye on the radar imagery as we head out into the afternoon hours of tomorrow. This doesn't include Brisbane or the Gold Coast, and only a couple of millimetres of rainfall can be expected in those areas before the rainfall moves up into the Sunshine Coast and then on Saturday morning into the central Queensland coast as that southeasterly flow around that trough into the Coral Sea really gets itself ramped up. Again, showers will be strictly coastal and not enough to exacerbate the already very bad flooding situation through the Burnett River and also in Rockhampton and into the Fitzroy catchment. Showers should penetrate inland, but not very far. Out towards Roma is about as far as west as they're going to get, but not expecting anything in the way of significant accumulations anywhere away from the coastline, that's for sure. Let's head up towards northern Queensland right now. We'll start off with what's impacting the mainland, and then we'll talk about what's going to be going on out into the Coral Sea. So again, another day of patchy shower and thunderstorm activity today. I did note the risk of some localised convergence around the southern Cassowary coast and towards the north of Townsville. To be honest, we haven't really seen that flare up this morning, but we did see some heavier showers in this region throughout the nighttime hours, and you can actually see a stagnant period of heavy rainfall developing just towards the north of Townsville, which we projected would happen yesterday in yesterday morning's forecast update. And you can see we are expecting some shower and thunderstorm activity to continue developing through the afternoon and the evening hours. It's going to be quite widespread through the Cape York Peninsula, but today is going to be the last day of that significant shower and thunderstorm potential. We will see a continuance of shower and thunderstorm potential tomorrow afternoon, but it is going to be a little bit less patchy. It's going to be a little bit less widespread as well, and more sort of contracting into the Atherton tablelands where the people actually are, so I guess that's where it matters. And also along the Cassowary coast is where some of those more moderate to locally heavy falls are possible. Again, on days like today, we're talking about patchy rainfall accumulations between 25 to 50 millimetres, in a few spots increasing to 100 millimetres. It depends on where those heavier showers and thunderstorms are, but don't get too excited for heavy rainfall. It's not going to be falling everywhere, and it's certainly not going to be happening all the time. Showers and thunderstorms under the influence of that southeasterly flow, wrapping up into that trough out into the central Coral Sea, continue through tomorrow night, and we might be looking at some locally moderate falls by Saturday morning. If we're looking at 48-hour accumulations, we might be looking at some 150 millimetre plus accumulations, even in a few spots by Saturday morning approaching 200 millimetres through pockets of the Cassowary coast. It's setups like this where we see those continuing flows of southeasterly moving showers into the Cassowary coast that can give us some half decent rainfall accumulations in those areas. And because we have seen some pretty impressive rainfall accumulations there in the last couple of weeks, it would not take much to produce some flooding in those areas. So it's always a good idea to keep on top of the river levels and also monitoring flash flooding and riverine flooding potential. I don't think that anything is going to come through, but by Saturday morning, if we do see on the upper echelon of those rainfall accumulations 200, 250 millimetres or so, we could be looking at some pretty big puddles around, maybe some isolated road closures in our more flood-prone areas. It is always worth a feature worth monitoring. Up into the Coral Sea, we then begin to see that trough properly develop further offshore after the weekend. We still see those heavy showers here and there through Saturday and Sunday, but they begin to favour the Daintree rainforest a little bit more, and then a broad area of low pressure developing around the Solomon Islands and into the eastern parts of the Coral Sea. This is that tropical low that the forecast models, particularly the GFS, have been extremely fond of over the last couple of days. And I would just like to preface the next couple of minutes by saying this is of no concern to Queensland at this point in time. Let me just show you what I'm talking about here on the wind accumulation map. And what we look for when we're looking at wind accumulation to predict tropical cyclone tracks is swathes of intense wind. So corridors of our purple shadings, and then eventually off into our white, and then our deep purple shadings again. And that could indicate a tropical cyclone track. And we're not seeing any of this on our more reputable ECMWF forecast model, and even the GFS is not overly keen on a proper tropical cyclone developing into the Coral Sea. It kind of hugs that eastern flank. That's what we'd be looking for on a tropical cyclone track, but you can see again, well away from the Queensland coast. Let's actually talk about the forecast and the why behind this system, and then go into the science as to why this is no threat to Queensland. So looking at the system out here into the eastern parts of the Coral Sea, it is likely that a tropical low will begin to develop early next week out here south of the Solomon Islands, southeast of PNG, and well to the east of the Great Barrier Reef and mainland Australia. And the Bureau of Meteorology has tagged this as a 20% chance of long-range development for the potential tropical low of 34U. The closest that this could theoretically come to the Australian mainland to by the looks of things is kind of on the longitude line of Brisbane, but by the time it sort of moves towards the Australian mainland because of elevated wind shear and also poor sea surface temperatures out in the Coral Sea right now, relatively speaking, and then that jet interaction that this system will have as it gets sucked further towards the south, it looks like this system is never going to properly approach the Australian mainland as any kind of weather threat right now. The ECMWF, interestingly enough, does have that tropical low kind of lingering close enough as to where it may produce some rainfall and shower activity. The GFS forecast model has interestingly been calling for that sort of situation as well. It kind of stalls that tropical cyclone once it gets itself down into the mid-latitude. So what we could possibly be looking at right now is a tropical low developing early next week and then kind of tracking due south. But then as it begins interacting with a very weak jet flow, it may actually stall around the Norfolk Island or towards the north of the Lord Howe Island area. This could be a pretty interesting aspect on the forecast and maybe a factor worth watching closely for some potential rainfall in northeastern New South Wales and southeastern Queensland. Whether this is some kind of east coast low type system here or a potential rainfall event, it doesn't look likely right now, but it's close enough, at least on the forecast modelling right now, as to where it is now a feature that's going to be on my radar and that we will continue to check back in on. I do have a footnote here with this system. The consistent trend right now is for more easterly motion. So over the last couple of days, we've seen the potential for a tropical low developing south of PNG. That's now shifted out here into the eastern Coral Sea. Who knows, in the next couple of days, it may actually shift towards Vanuatu and New Caledonia. That's actually looking pretty likely right now that this may be the spot for the tropical low to develop. And of course, with its first towards the southwest track and then that southeasterly track, it pulls it further and further away from Australia and lesser of a threat, rainfall and wind-wise, for any part of mainland Australia. We also have to keep in mind that the GFS forecast model is a very biased forecast model in the sense that it blows tropical cyclones up very quickly at this time of the year out into the Coral Sea because it takes into account ocean heat content quite strongly, and as a result we see the GFS call for some wacky predictions. That's where you see those Category 4 and Category 5 strength storms popping up like popcorn on the GFS forecast model. It also has that landfalling bias that we've talked about in previous forecast updates, but yeah, that is why I'm not putting much weight on this projection right now, and why if I was in Queensland I wouldn't even be giving this airtime. I'm just talking about it to kind of ease the threat and ease the thought around this tropical cyclone because there's already so much in the way of fake news in regards to this system, so I don't want anybody to be worrying about it right now. And on that note, let's leave the Coral Sea, move up towards northern Australia and talk about more tropical weather and more tropical rainfall up there. We've got a weak trough developing over the Northern Territory that is expected to deepen a little bit today, and it's associated with a broad low pressure system here situated just towards the south of Katherine, about halfway between Darwin and Alice Springs. Now this low pressure system is continuing to produce very heavy rainfall through isolated parts of the Northern Territory. The good news is, at least for these flood ravaged areas in the Northern Territory, is that this system is expected to be pushed down towards the southwest with that monsoonal flow, and then it's going to bring that rainfall into less flood impacted areas through WA and parts of the Northern Territory, but then it's going to circle back into Central Australia and bring yet more rainfall around the Lake Eyre catchment. That is of particular concern to me right now. Let's get through the next couple of days before we start talking a little bit more long range, but you can see further shower and thunderstorm activity forecast tonight. It is going to get quite heavy at times. We might be looking at 24-hour accumulations approaching 150 millimetres in a few spots. More widespread falls around 50 millimetres are expected. Most of the rainfall will fall south of the top end, but we could still see some half-decent falls around Darwin as well. The low pressure system then becomes a broad trough moving in towards the Kimberley region of WA, and it fails to really tighten up. I mean, at one point we were expecting this system to move offshore into the Indian Ocean where it could have become a tropical cyclone. That now looks quite unlikely because of an upper trough dragging this system down towards the south, and then its interaction with a cold front early next week looks to properly cement this system's southerly motion. And then we see some heavy rainfall as that deep tropical moisture pours much further into the Northern Territory. You can see it here on the rainfall forecast map. Lots and lots of tropical moisture pouring into the Northern Territory, and then that trough developing, that quasi-stationary trough, or effectively a stationary trough around the Northern Territory SA border, and that produces moderate to locally heavy rainfall. Nothing like what we saw a couple of weeks ago, but still some very heavy falls expected through parts of Central Australia early next week, and this could impact Lake Eyre, yet more rainfall into the immediate Lake Eyre catchment. Now, the bulk of this rainfall will fall by the looks of things close to the Northern Territory, South Australia border. Now, if we circle back to the last flood event, the worst rainfall was across Western Queensland through here, but we also had some massive rainfall accumulations down into the Gawler Ranges and the Flinders Ranges and through this part of Queensland, as well as parts of Western New South Wales and Eastern SA. The bulk of this rainfall into the red circle looks to fall in this outline here. So circling back over parts of Lake Eyre, but for the most part not impacting our worst impacted areas of last flood event. Now, this is somewhat good news, but it's still going to translate to some big time flooding. Widespread falls around the 40 to 80 millimetre mark, increasing to as much as 150 millimetres in a few spots. It could be a very wet time early next week around the Lake Eyre area and places like Coobapedy, Inaminka as well, and then up towards Oodnadatta, Coolgera, and around the SA Northern Territory border, as far west as Warburton and Giles in Western Australia may pick up some decent rainfall accumulations, again approaching that 100 or 150 millimetre calibre, which might not sound much considering we've been talking about Queensland for so long, but that is some very significant rainfall out in this part of Australia. In places, that's what they pick up on an annual basis, so we'll be watching this one like a hawk over the next couple of days. It also likely translates to some rainfall through parts of northern Victoria and southern New South Wales, particularly as that cold front does come through, but nothing in the way of significant rainfall accumulations there, 20 to 50 millimetres, but that's exactly the type of rainfall that they do want to see at this point in time. The severe weather threat has eased off for southeastern Australia. We'll just have a look at what the weather situation is currently right now. A few showers still moving through Tassie and also parts of Victoria, but we're seeing that ridge. You can see that on the western part of the screen right now, that ridge beginning to build in the Bight, and that's going to keep things cool, calm and collected for the next couple of days as we head into the week, and that westerly flow still remaining present for Tassie, and that may bring some showers and the odd storm through here and there. A weak cold front approaching on Monday and Tuesday, that's going to work to drag this trough further south in towards South Australia and bring a bit of that rainfall for parts of northern Victoria and southern New South Wales, and then another ridge moving through. More cold front activity though is beginning to build for Tasmania, and it won't be long until that begins moving up and towards Victoria. I mean, looking at the dates here, March 26th, that's how far out the forecast goes now. And you can see those fronts beginning to climb further and further to the north as that jet stream moves up to the north and that subtropical ridge pushes up to the north, allowing these cold fronts to move through. Winter is going to arrive sometime in the next 3 weeks for Tasmania, and it's not going to be far behind for Victoria and even closer behind for Western Australia. I'm shivering at that thought right now. Please do not take my hot weather away from me. So it's not going to be long until we start talking about these winter weather systems and more rainfall across southeastern Australia, which has really struggled in the past 6 months. It really hasn't gotten any better since that southern stratospheric warming event back in September. So that is quite a concern that we're in those drought conditions, but a little bit of relief at the end of the tunnel here for Tassie and Victoria, and hopefully New South Wales as well. We'll begin to see that develop on the forecast. And just to quickly round things out here, that upper level low pressure system still producing rainfall in the eastern parts of the goldfields through parts of southeastern WA. It looks like this upper level low is going to begin to track out into the Bight throughout the course of today, and that low is really beginning to become quite troughy in nature. It doesn't look like it's going to be a significant weather situation at all. I mean, we have seen some half decent rainfall accumulations out here. 2-day falls approaching 100 millimetres in a few spots. Kalgoorlie's picked up about 20 millimetres. So it's decent. It's going to create a bit of a bloom out here, maybe some flooding here and there as well, but it is impacting, I mean, next to nobody. You could probably count on your fingers how many people have received rainfall in the last couple of days out here in southeastern WA. There really is next to nothing out in this part of the state, but good for the graziers out on the Nullarbor Plain. Graziers, my apologies. That will do it though for today's weather forecast update nationwide. I do hope you've enjoyed it. I've tried to slow the speech down a little bit to make it a little bit more listenable today, but if you have enjoyed it, then please do consider leaving a like and also subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I really want to say a massive thank you to all of the recent support. It is massively appreciated. Check out the Facebook page for more updates, and I'll catch you on the next storm. Goodbye.